Oh, there's a slug. Oh, right. Ta-da! Hello again. Well, here we are. Yet another little juniper to play with. This belongs to the same chappie um, that owned the one that I did in the last video, which some of you may have seen. But the idea is that I'm going to be working on sort of minimalistic trees that are really beginners material, the sort of stuff that I used to work on when I started in bonsai, 55 years ago, the great fun days. All right, no problems then, and this was typical of that kind. Now, this tree was air layered by a friend of mine. He had three of them, of which two have already been done. You've seen one, you haven't seen the other because I did that privately, and now there's going to be this one. If you haven't seen the other one, then I suggest you take a look at the website, at the videos with the sort of, I think it was the very last one we made, okay? And we made it something like a semi-cascade tree. This one is going to be totally different. So what I'm going to do now is just cut out all of the unwanted branches because I have an idea in my head as to approximately what I want to do. And the design will be very different, but it'll also hopefully be my favorite, which is literati style. Literati style was really named after the scroll painters, and their brushwork, um, all very fluid, all very lyrical, and hopefully that's what we try to do within the bonsai. It's very, very difficult to be absolutely precise about the way we design the tree. It's more or less uh, work as you go along and feel it en route. And as you know, I've said so many times, to touch my feelings, feel my touch. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to go back to my workspace and get the old scissors out and make a start. Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. So I've got something to prune with. Yeah. Something bigger. This is a nice tool. Might as well have a brush. Okay. I think that will probably do for the time being. Right. Traveling up from the trunk, we've got a number of branches, one, two, and then three, and then that third one divides into two more. First of all, I know I don't want these branches, so I'm going to get shot of them now. So, boom, boom. Incidentally, this kind of material with junipers is ideal for using as cuttings, okay? So it's worth me sticking this in something. What I'm going to do, I've got some water over there in the bucket. I'll put those in, keep them fresh. I'm going to take this one off as well, and some of these big branches will come off. But what I should emphasize is it's always a little intimidating for beginners and people that have not been into bonsai too long to be drastic about pruning bigger or heavier branches. Well, that one's got to go. Okay, so boom, that's gone. Now, what do we do here? Now what I'm going to do is going to shift right up to the top of these three things. We've got this one. Yeah, it's a bit of a catapult shape there. I think we've got, if I take these two out of the equation and I play with those, because there's difference in height, that gives me a kind of primary and secondary level, which is always quite good. Or conversely, I could get rid of all of this and just work with this and make a smaller tree altogether, which actually ain't a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. Pretty drastic. I was going to use this, you see, but looking at that, it's a little bit fan shaped, you know. Whereas these are a little more promising. Yeah, maybe. And then, of course, there's this one here, but then I don't like the straightness of this trunk. Although I suppose if I put some heavy wire on it, it is bendable. Um, whoops. Just a minute. I've got to get a sponge just to lock this. Okay. So, decision time. Big, big, big decision time. Let's just turn this around. Yeah, that's nice. You see the nice distribution of branches on that one? Whereas this one, as I said earlier, is a very sort of fan shape and very, if we look at it sideways, very two-dimensional. So, right. This one I know I don't want. Although, having said that, that one, yeah, it's this catapult thing I'm not keen on. All right, I'm going to bite the bullet and cut this one out for starters. All right, so let's get something man enough to do the job. Let's see whether this will do it. Wow. There. So now where are we at? I know that I'm not going to want these branches, so that can come out. There. This can this can come out here. This one we don't want either, so that can come out. Right, well, this little stump here, I'm going to nibble this back a bit, tidy it up. Get in there. Get in there. Get in there. This lovely tool was given to me by my good friend John Armitage. Now, we've got this and we've got this. This one here and this one here. Why am I considering it? It's a bit low. And we've got this one here. It's got to go. And if it's got to go, it's got to go. So, boom. I'll keep that one. This is an awkward chappy, so boom. Let's stick those all in the water. Possible cuttings. You know, guys, this is wishful thinking, all right? Talking about cuttings. It's going to take another 5 or 10, 15 years to get anywhere. Listen, I'm 85, all right? Work that out. Right, now this is very exciting. If we, yeah, look at, you see here, it's coming up this trunk here. Then we have the sort of diminishing thickness caliper. And then up here we've got this nice little curve, and then a curve the other way. These I can exaggerate with wire presently. Then we go up there. And then you see this one here comes up again, up there. Then those two, this one and here, if we examine those, I'm just going to hide these for a moment. You see how texturally they both have a similar kind of weight within the foliage. All right. And bear in mind, as with virtually all of the bonsai um, that I work on, in the first instance, I tend to concern myself purely with the skeleton, with the initial bone structure. That's the trunk and the branches, and the foliage gets put on over the next 3 or 4 years. So don't be surprised if the tree looks a little bit naked by the time I finish. What I like about this and this is the the weight of the two branches. There's a nice primary and secondary, whereas with this one and this one, which was the one I was originally going to consider, that one there is actually thicker than that one, but that one is taller than that one. So they cancel out, whereas this is primary for height, and that is secondary because it's lower. This is primary for thickness, and that is secondary. So there's ambiguity within the design, and I don't like ambiguity. So decision time again. Painful. Let's turn this around. That's got to go, guys. And this one. Okay? That's got to go. So we'll cut them up there first. Yikes! Into the water. We will cut this one here. Boom. And into the water. Right. Now, as you can see, the tree was planted in a pot in that orientation, and I'm going to put it something like that, okay? So what I'm going to do now is put some wire up here. I can't do anything about this, but what I have to do is to wire this and this. So I'll do that initially, okay? But first of all, we'll just take away those stumps. There you are. That's better, as they say. There you go. Right, as you can see, our darling little tree has been reduced to something pretty minimalistic, as my younger son would say. Okay, minimalistic. Wow, I say minimal. Hang on, what's going on here? There we go. So I'll just turn around a couple more times, slowly. There's always a tendency to spin these things around too fast, and you can't actually see what's what. But obviously, we're not going to have it this way. We're going to have it something like that, okay? Something like that. So what I'm going to do, put that there. Is it steep enough? Yeah, like that, okay? So that I can remember the angle, I'm going to just mark it like so here, and mark it here. All right. And now, guys, I have to take this down and wire it. And what I'm going to do is just wire the two main branches. I won't bore you with wiring the little ones. We'll have a break after I've wired these two, and then I'll wire those privately. We'll come back and we'll tweak it, hopefully, okay? Right. So let's get a nice choice bit of wire. This is 2.5. We're probably just about be strong enough for this. If it isn't, I can always double up. I feel, what do I look for when I'm choosing my wires? I feel the tensility, as it were, the tension within the branch or trunk or whatever it is that I'm working, and then I will choose a wire that I feel will be strong enough to be able to bend that branch and hold it, be strong enough to hold it in the bent position. This I know will certainly be okay for that. So what I'll do first of all is get myself a decent length. I think, guys, we might have to put the light on in a moment. The daylight is really dropping rapidly. Okay, we'll do something like this. Now, when I wire this, I'm going to put it underneath there. All right, hold it, take that up, get a good lock on it around there. All right, and because this is such a thin branch, oh, hang on, let me just lock this other side. Because this is such a thin branch, I'm going to make this a fairly loose. I'm not going to make it too tight because it will start biting in. Now we go on this one, around there. Notice how it always support underneath and the wire as you go along. Then I move the finger up and around and support. And you see these angles are approximately 45 degrees, which is a good angle. If you have them too close, it becomes like a spring, and you try and bend it, it just bounces back. If you have them too open, it just doesn't do the job. So 45 degrees is probably a sensible way to go. And there we go, around there. Into this one here. Around there. This here. My lovely little ginning pliers, the brother of these wire cutters with the orange handles, are lost. It's gone, disappeared. Such a shame. So I'm having to use these pointed pliers instead. Well, there you are, guys. You can see how I've wired that. All right. Now I'm going to come back. I'm going to go back to the other setup, put it in the orientation that I had, and then tweak the trunks accordingly. Yeah. Okay. What we haven't discussed is the front of the tree. Now we know what the front of the tree is, because if you look at the back, the front's on the other side. Okay? Don't worry too much, guys, about front and back and all that, okay? Preferred viewing side, the side that you enjoy viewing the tree from best, that, as far as I'm concerned, that is the front, okay? You can get too snotty about all of this, so just bear with and enjoy. That's what bonsai's, well, that's what bonsai should be about. Right, so obviously this guy's got to come in a bit, so look where my thumb is. That's going to be like an anvil. I'll bend it against that and around and around and around and up a bit. Whoops, slipping. Take it in a bit more. You notice how I'm bouncing it. This way you do a little bit of damage to the underlying vascular bundles within there's the sapwood, okay, which will repair itself in time, but that helps to set the branch better. I'll take that up on that way. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is play around with these things. And what I'm going to use as my inspiration for this are landscape, the English landscape Scots pines that are so beautiful. So I'll take that in, I'll take it out, bring that in a bit more. You see how these, I don't want that like that, I don't want it like that. I want those to be ideally sort of parallel. Okay, so that the space is nicely held in there. You see that? Okay, some people call it negative space. I just call it space because it is as important as the form. It is so vital, so vital. Da-dum, 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 something like that. And then these sort of things go like that, and so I don't know whether we keep that and that and that and that. We get a crown. Yeah, okay. Let's get some wire on the little ends now, okay? That won't take me very long, but I won't bore you with it. I'll do that now, and we'll come back in a few minutes, okay, and carry on. And cut, and I think it's all wired. Right. Yeah. Da-da-da-da. Yep, it's all wired. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it back and view it against the clear background and see if we can't make some kind of sense, okay? And this, of course, will go into a very shallow pot eventually, because literati are invariably grown in very shallow pots. And one of the reasons for this is because with the thin trunks that they have, if you put them in a deeper, bigger pot, it's like putting them in Dr. Martens boots. They become terribly bottom heavy and clumsy and okay. So light, shallow pots and fairly small in diameter. Now the trouble, of course, with this is once you've got your foliage built up, it's going to be wind resistant. So with these taller pots, okay, it's so easy for the trees to be blown over on your benches. So you will need to tie the pot down to the bench for safekeeping. Right, so let's get back to the clear bit. Wow. Right. You see how these two have opened out? That's all that messing around with me wiring. I can come in. Right, so when you have a primary, or when you have more than one trunk, like you've got twin trunk, two tree, three trees, etc., um, it always makes sense to have the first branch emanate from the trunk of the youngest the youngest trunk, the thinnest one. So we're talking that will be the first branch, not this. So we'll take this one down. I also like to bring it up a bit and down. Okay, I'll bring that in a bit, down, and then we will see what's all this about. Down there, and this goes down there like so. Bring him up there, bring him up there like that. This one can come around here like that. There. This is slipping. And then this one here, we can, oh, it's coming undone. It's coming undone. Okay, and that one can go like that. Whoa, this pesky thing. Now, you see what I'm trying to do?
No, tell us.
I'm just about to. What I'm trying to do is create a nice little pad there, okay? Now I want to bring something around this side, and I have reservations about this branch. I'm going to take this one down and bring him around here. Hey, look! Forgot those two. As my son would say, forgot to do. Right, I'll put some wire on that in a minute. Um, Now this one here, I'll take here a bit and around, in that there. Take this one down and up, and that one round and a bit there. Bring that round. And this one, I'll take up a bit and down, up and down, and around there like so. And that one down there like so. You see, basically what you're doing, you're just drawing in 3D basically, a bit sculptural. So there's no way I could have pre-planned this. I'm just going along as I'm going along, as they say.
You say.
I say, come on, bend up. Why aren't you bending up? There we go. That's better up. Let's take. I need my scissors. Sorry, guys. It's quite cute, this. All right. That one. Take that up a bit. Oh, these branches are so fiddly. It's impossible to get in between them all. I do. And back we go. There we are. So that can now go there. This can go down there. That goes up there. That can go there. Okay. And a bit can go there. Now what you don't want what you don't want is your branches, the branches to be like that, slightly up the first place, up and then down and around, and then slightly like that. What you don't want is this, all right? Like that. Make them graceful. Make them dance. Now I'll take this one here down, make that into this one here, brought up, become the apex. Oh, dear. Come on. Keep slipping out of position. Now, you see what we have here, how we have this diminishing trunk line all the way up to right to this. That was the bigger branch. And you see how I brought that down? And I've taken this tiny little one up to eventually form the crown. All right, and you'll get all these nice little pads in time to develop our tree. All right, so I think that's more or less. There's not a lot at the back. Okay, it's a scrawny little tree, but in 3 years' time, it'll be exhibitable. This pot's too deep. Nice though, hey? See that? The pot wants to be half that depth. Right. So, I hope my friend will enjoy this. And we still have that branch lower than that one. Right, okay. Would have been nice, eventually, I'm sure it will pop one or two things around the back here. So we will be able to create a rear element there and probably another one there. But you see, we have this nice little twin Scots pine image. Landscape Scots pine. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Just a little bit of fun. As we said earlier, something for nothing. Um, Anybody can do that. No big deal. It's just being, just having the courage, really, to get out those big unwanted branches. Find the line in bonsai design. The line that you want to find, first of all, of course, is the trunk line. And remember, guys, once you have decided on the trunk line and established its character, come on, this thing keeps swiveling, and established its character, you want to follow that through the rest of the design. And once you've established the angle of the first branch, okay, you have to think to yourself logically, what has caused this to be in this orientation, and the other branches follow suit. So what you don't want is this kind of thing, something pointing up there, and you see how it completely destroys the whole design. These are all coming down nicely, all gracefully, and that silly little chappy is going up. So bring them back down, just a little bit up there. Okay. Right, I think we'll call it a day on that. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share, okay? I always forget the share thing, and that's so important, guys. Please remember to share. All right, thank you so much. Here we are. We're finished now, as far as I can go. It's all a little bit bitty and hasn't got the sort of tufts that I would like. But what I'm going to do is a quick little sketch, little pencil sketch, to show how I sort of envisage the tree in maybe 3 years' time. Okay, and yeah, so I've got a sketchbook here. I've got my pencils here. So let's get cracking. And I must emphasize that this is day one in the life of this plant as a bonsai. It'll be a few years yet before it'll be exhibitable. Right, here we go. I will probably be making that a little bit thicker because anticipating the growth development that's obviously going to happen over the next 2 or 3 years. We come up here slightly this way, and then slightly that way, around, and then around, Be a nice little shape in there. It's leveling out a bit. And then start here. As I say, although this is a juniper, Chinese juniper, I am doing it in the image of a English landscape Scots pine. Okay, as you've possibly heard me say in the other videos, I really do like bonsai to look like trees and not be too toperied and over-mannered. You know, I like them to look natural. I like them to look real. I like them to look as though they're alive and, you know, where the birds can roost in their branches. You know, it's just the old romantic coming out of me. Nice pencil. And then we put a little crown. And notice I always use the word crown. Some people say apex. With an apex is pointed. Okay, it's a zenith. And when a plant is like that, it's because it's still growing. All right, it's growing. And in bonsai, we try to develop our trees um, so that they look mature. So the mature trees don't have points up there; they're rounded. So you've got a nice crown. Okay, that one goes down a bit more. And we've got this one here. Branches. You remember what I said about with the lower branch, the lesser one? You have your first branch, you see, first branch emanating from that point. And then we've got this one over here. I'm gonna just take this up a bit. Two little birds. Right, now for a pot. We'll just mention that literati usually have very narrow, small pots, which then subsequently have to be tied down. Okay. So I reckon I could do something on these lines in a better time. I'm just going to ask you to hold fire for a moment. I want to pop out to the garden. Quickly, I'll run if I can at my age, just to see if I can find something to show you how the foliage densifies on this particular species. So we'll just come back in just a second. There we go. So you see, really naked, but you can see how these things can be developed quite rapidly. And this is one that a friend gave me, and I'm actually probably going to put it in a nice pot that I've got up here. This pot's a little bit big. Whoa, a little bit big for this, but it would probably go in there. Something like that. And I have to grow it on a bit. Whew, I'm out of breath after that. Well, that is about enough for the time being on this tree. I just hope my friend is happy with it and not going to scold me for taking such a lot out of the tree. So, okay, guys, that's it. Bye.